finding creative with a good turn, keeps himself from getting hacked. It's the shots in to go ahead and deny that away from Lip. Deadeye up on top, Fitz will get Lip. It's under a little bit of fire, but overall is okay. Gets a flashbang headshot on the Void back there with his face. Void devours Profit's pulse bomb, and this is just a comedy of errors right now for the side of the Seoul Dynasty, except we're the ones that are laughing, not them. They're diving in, they're trying to get on top of Izzyaki. Profit finally manages to make it happen, has the pulse bomb on a phase as well, shuts him down. Self-destruct to the point here for a moment. This has to be a big bang combo, and it's got to be a significant one. Oh my god, Fleta, he finds two with the pulse bomb, and Amino and Fitz both eliminated. There's 25 seconds left, and then Anubis gets committed to the fight. Marvel still almost dies.
The Dragons now have the chance to actually win a series in the Countdown Cup Qualifiers. Vicky, here we are. They're against the Seoul Dynasty, who are currently undefeated. Now, Shanghai Dragons had a bit of a rough start over the last couple of weeks. On the flip side, Seoul Dynasty been looking oh so clean.
Yeah, the Dragons right now, after last weekend, we just finished our last series between the Fusion and NYXL, the two teams that were able to beat the Dragons, the #1 team in the East region, Jaws, that I believe are holding on to 18 points in total. So they have quite a lead to work with, the #2 spot being the Seoul Dynasty, having, I believe, a total of 11 points. So that's just to put into perspective here, that gap between first to second. And the Dragons, they can't get too comfortable, though. Despite having that lead, they still want to be able to find themselves taking the Countdown Cup too. Why not add it to your belt of accomplishments after everything that they've done this season alone?
Oh yeah, definitely, and just in general, not even just this season. The Shanghai Dragons, scratch year one. Like, look at the rest of the years. I mean, they're looking pretty good. Seoul Dynasty, though, I mean, 2-0 right now on the top of the leaderboard with Philadelphia Fusion. They're looking good also. This wrecking ball composition with Gesture, 2U as well on their Diva. Fitz and Profit, do I need to say more? This team is looking great. And can they take down a weakened Dynasty to then level the lead with the Philadelphia Fusion? I think it's very possible at this point. There have been a few hiccups and bumps in the road. So Dynasty, are they going to field Fleta and Lip at the same time? Are they going to put in Develop as well? We talked about at the start of the series, Vic, or start of the day, sorry, as we kind of summed up everything. We said, well, you know what? Shanghai Dragons lounging back on their chair, fully reclined in their gaming chair, you know, all the way back. They got a drink in one hand. They got a nice, I don't know, name a delicious food. I like cheesecake, so I'm going to say cheesecake. A nice slice of cheesecake in the other hand. You know, they're chilling, they're max and relaxing because they have guaranteed themselves a spot in the playoffs already, right? And this is the time to kind of experiment a little bit, maybe put in a couple of rookies here and there. But the issue with that is you also don't want to go down so deep that you don't even qualify for the Countdown Cup, because it's a bit of extra change, a few extra points dabbled here and there could result in a better seed placing for you as well. You don't want any other team to overtake you. Seoul Dynasty is biting at their heels at this point as well, Vicky. Like you said, they are the gap pretty big, but Seoul Dynasty can make up for that. They do end up going far in the Countdown Cup.
Actually insane looking at the way that things are going down for the Dragons, and now that they have to face off against the Seoul Dynasty, this is really what is going to make it for me, at least here, Jaws, to determine like what the Dragons' primary goal is for this stage. As we enter Nepal, being our first map here in the series, yeah, maybe just taking a step back. Are they sandbagging? Are they struggling? I mean, as somebody who's pretty competitive, I do understand the mental of burnout. You know, that's just, you know, the benefit of the doubt here. But I also believe that the Shanghai Dragons, since they have that room to work with, being in that first place spot, having those 18 points, making that gap pretty insane between themselves and the Seoul Dynasty, they have the ability to do that. They have the ability to utilize a lot of those players that were sitting on the bench, but looking like coming out of the gates, Lip and Fleta are the first ones coming in with the rest of the Dragons. Now, as they get set up, using that sim turret to just go, or rather the sim teleporter just go forward. Lip is going to be on the Stormber this time, and to match that, you already see the Seoul Dynasty coming out with Profit on Soldier.
Double hit scan to take out Fleta. Of course, Ash isn't available, so you have to go with the the other hit scan, the Soldier. We saw a little bit of Soldier today, do nothing with Attack Visor. Can't wait to see it again. A little bit more effective though against the Pharah Mercy combo, I will say. I know I keep talking bad about Soldier, but hey. The ult, not great, okay.
Where stocks with sandals, but clicking heads, yeah, but he's gonna get punished as Void takes him out, gets some of that revenge. Fate and Lip also taking a lot of damage here too. Lijiang just trying to get into position, but he gets melted by Creative after trying to go for that res onto Fleta. He sacrifices himself, so now Fleta actually won't have that sustainability from Lijiang that he could have had before.
Yeah, normally in that situation, if you trade your life for the Pharah, it's kind of useless because his Yaki doesn't want to have to keep kind of looking up in the air to try and check the Pharah, especially against double hit scan. I wonder if Fleta does change after Barrage. You have to. You're playing double hit scan versus the Pharah. Like, there's no way you don't switch. Fate gets owned, gets almost nothing with that one. I need to start off the fight.
Oh. Actually pushing him forward, and then he gets anti-fits. Actually not going according to the plan. Now the EMP fighting for Animo goes down thanks to it. Creative taking a lot of that damage. See Seoul Dynasty just trying to back off, but with this visor, they're no, he's not going anywhere. He was by himself over to the side. They isolate him. Yeah, he did kill Lee Jae-gon, so that means that Fleta won't have the sustainability and does have that rocket barrage, so he's actually forced to back off, and that supercharger may be a little lethal for him to try to put himself in that line of sight.
I believe Tuyu just jumped into the mine by accident there. But, whoops-a-daisy. Quick reset, boys. Don't worry, I'll be right back. Fleta's going to get res, though. Big trouble now.
Going right
Barrage is
they're
available.
not wasting any time. And yeah, Fleta's trying to get into position at this point with Lijiang being able to get that res. Lister's in trouble, though. He gets booped out of the shield. Backing off, but it's not going to be fast enough. There's only you can only go so far with those Orisa legs. Now with this Ant Matrix coming out from Seoul Dynasty, they do save the day. They do maintain their advantage on the point. And Shanghai Dragons have yet to flip it once for this first round.
Yeah, look, another nano onto Flurry. Finally uses Barrage, but instantly gets taken down. Lijiang, he should have Resurrection available. 93% and building. There's EMP. Oh, it's disaster.
Nestor also gets hit with another anti. Tuyu to go for a reset. Overtime taking away the Seoul Dynasty. The dominating performance already. Prophet's about to get Visor too. They need to try to contest here with Fate rolling back onto the point. Just Prophet trying to get into position here. He does activate the attack Visor. Just try to get an off angle here with the rest of the Shanghai Dragons moving into his line of sight. Lib manages to get away, and Li Jae-gon with the Valkyrie. Gonna keep everybody on the point alive, but they still have not managed to flip it. It's still getting contested, Jaws.
Still getting tested 99% and counting. Self-destruct on point, doesn't find anybody, and finally the Dragons get the flip.
They take down Joshua with it here too. Fleta taking so much damage, but that's gonna just build into the next Valkyrie for Li Jae-gon.
Not done. Window.
There we go, and the pulse bomb too fits. Backs off. The Immortality Field also right there from Creative after he utilized the Ant Matrix. Fate does have the minefield to stop the rotation up to the point. Have to back off and avoid this Deadeye though. No one in his line of sight. He's gonna be able to rotate with the rest of the Dynasty.
Ends up going down as well. 5v6 now for the Seoul Dynasty as they do make their way onto the point. Prophet nearing the visor once again, but Fate opening the fight up with the mines. Fleta's going to be more than safe as well on the defense. You can see him playing just so far back. Rally from Animo though. A lot of people, almost impossible to kill if you're Fleta at this point.
See the Dragons too, not trying to contest that. They're playing extremely patiently while they still have control here. Gets stunned immediately after he tries to use the Rocket Barrage. No saving that, not even with the Valkyrie. Does manage to get that res and reposition, but they've lost Izayaki at the same time. That means they won't have the nano boost in the process when you have the Seoul Dynasty about to flip the point and push it back into overtime.
Yeah, OT's coming through. Fleta's back up in the skies, but as quick as he's up, he's down again. Double hit scan versus the Pharah.
Gotcha.
It's just not good. It's just not good, Vicky. But then what kind of time did Shanghai Dragons already have to reset there as well? It's like, okay, when does Fleta actually go back to spawn to reset? Because Li Jae-gon was always rezzing him. Like, always rezzing him. So there's not really a point where he can go back and go, okay, I'm gonna switch, like, we're gonna go again, and I'm gonna go Trace, or, you know, I'm gonna go Kree or something different than the Pharah. Very tough. That was basically one long fight. after that first point take from Seoul Dynasty where they wiped Dragons, or at least killed Lee Jae-gong, forcing Dragons to reset. That was one long fight, and it did end up with Seoul Dynasty taking the dub on that round. Another double hit scan moment against Fleder. So again, if Seoul Dynasty wasn't able to set up the high ground, look at Fleder, look at his positioning. He's doing a lot of damage from afar, but he has to play so low behind these buildings.
Spitz too, just managing to put on so much pressure. Ooh, that was a little scary.
If that was a double headshot, oh my word, I would have flipped out.
We got it at the start, actually, the very beginning on Fleder initially. That's what forced out the res from the start, but now going on to here, Void already on the high ground, just trying to force the Seoul Dynasty to back off, but they're doing so much damage that they're essentially pressuring the Dragons to back off. With the point now coming online, it's the Seoul Dynasty making their way to take this objective first. Fleder's just trying to build into this rocket barrage.
Press Q to die button though, Vicky. Let's be real with ourselves. It lasts a couple of times he tries to use it. He ends up just instantly getting deleted or just flashbanged. Fate ends up going down. Another nice clean headshot from Fitz. Can he follow up? No, he cannot. Oh. But Fled is still playing furthest back he possibly can to try and chunk Fitz down and just make use of that range.
They do have the nano boost at least to keep Fled alive, but Void out of position. Ant Matrix 2 to control that space in front. They won't have the Valk, so the Shanghai Dragons, they're going to back off. They're going to reset here with the Seoul Dynasty still having control over this point. It's looking like the first round all over again.
You don't even need ults if you're the Seoul Dynasty. You kind of sit there, just chunk people out. The Dragons comp relies on you using ultimates in combination with each other. EMP into the Rocket Barrage, Nano Barrage, etc., etc. But the Seoul Dynasty's comp, they've got a lot of upfront damage. They have Creative with the window. They have Tac Visor or just like Soldier. They have Bits on McCree. Lip setting up for an EMP.
I'm trying to get into position right now. Shigon activating the Valk here. Tries to negate some of that damage put on by the Tac Visor by Prophet. Fled finding the opportunity to talk about the Nano Barrage, and here it comes. Does find Animo and Fitz in the process. With Fled, he was playing behind and he found the opportunity to close in that gap, and now diving in. Fate's going to help clean up with Fled, and they're also going to be able to move it to the point. Their plan finally executed, but look at the cost that it took with the time jaws. 75% already in favor of the Dynasty.
That Nano Barrage could have been thwarted so easily. Fitz unfortunately missed his flashbang in midair. He had to do like a weird turn and kind of look at Fleder. He threw the flash a little bit early, didn't end up connecting. The barrage went off, killed 2. They're not going to have a good time either running into the CMP, Vicky. Look at Lip's positioning.
I was waiting for the opportunity. Looked like they were trying to actually call him out right there. He saw the flail too, yeah, and the lamp is gone. Some information for the Dragons to know as they try to find an angle here. You see Splatter's already on their back line. Comes the EMP though, finding Fork here, that's great, but they shut him down immediately and they shut down Flatter at the same time. Finding these headshots, Fitz has been on point. We do find some trades as the Dragons, they get that revenge onto Creative and Fitz, and Shingon does get that res. The point though, going in favor of the Seoul Dynasty as they flip it right back. And this is the problem, though, with the Dragons still being able to get some of these picture jaws. It's just difficult for them to maintain aggression on the point. They do have the barrage, though.
Double anti-nade's perfect. 2 uses self-destruct. Doesn't find anybody, and they almost end up flipping the point too. Actually, saying that, they just did. Animo's dead, now. But Lee Jae-gong's to follow.
Right as you call it too, in the Seoul Dynasty, they waste no time to flip it right back. Already 92%, and Prophet's got that pulse bomb, just trying to demech Void. Does so in the reset with the bomb. Before Void tries to get right back in, but no, Prophet's not having it. He melees him, knows he's won, and now nearing the point where the Dragons gotta figure something out. Farah's not working out. They're just immediately shutting him down. They don't even touch the point. They don't even touch the point. They can't. The Dynasty now taking the first map. What is going on between last weekend and now, Jaws? Is this going to be a trend coming into the rest of the Countdown Cup?
I mean, maybe. Lee Jae-gong at the very end there. He was so close to being able to touch the point and getting a resurrection off as well. He was in Valkyrie. Such an unlucky timing. Double hit scan, man. Against Fledis Farah. I mean, if you have control of the point, it's perfect because you can hide around the buildings, but you'd never have point control ever because you're Farah and Sombra. It's so sad. Press like. We're going to go to a break. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Okay, we start off the series with 2-0 on control for Seoul Dynasty. I'm aware how confusing that sometimes sounds. Like, well, we're 2-0, but it was control, so it's actually 1-0 in the series. Haha. It's always the most confusing thing about, I think, starting to, I guess, watch Overwatch Esports in a way. But 2-0 on control, which means 1 point for Dynasty on the board. Now we head on to Route 66 as our next map. Shanghai Dragons, Vicky. They're running the Pharaoh with the Pocket, Lee Jigon and Fleda up in the sky. But Seoul Dynasty read them like a book. What did they play? Double hit scan, instant counter, and just Fleda struggled to get anything done.
I'm just surprised we didn't see a swap, not even in the second round, honestly, Jaws. But, you know, I guess they had a lot of faith, so they just wanted to keep going with it. It worked one time. The Nano Barrage worked one time, I think, in that entire first map, and they still ran with it after that. So, unfortunately, that didn't work out for the Shanghai Dragons. Now, Seoul Dynasty, they're making that comeback. They're going to take that first map, and as we move on to a second map, it's going to be Escort, and it's going to be going on to Route 66, which is actually one of the Dragons' best maps when it comes to facing off against the Dynasty in the past. So we're going to see here if the Dragons are going to put that far away and figure out a different plan here, because we can't just play Ignore the Pharah anymore. You know, everyone's adjusted here. We've realized how lethal it is. They're not just going to let Pharah pop off in the sky with Lee Jae-gon pocketing him at the same time. You know, you have that double hit scan to counter that.
Yeah, there was a lot of ways that they were trying to make sure Fleta could succeed. The nano boost, the damage boost pocket, like you said, but half the time, Fitz was kind of already waiting there with Flashbang. He doesn't really need to use it for anything else, ideally. I mean, he sits there with the Orisa, doesn't need to flash the ball, the monkey, or whatever they're playing. He just waits for Fleta to dive on in, boop, throw a little Flashbang up in the sky. Fleta crashes back down to earth, and they just swarm and kill him. I mean, it was as simple as that, especially on Shrine. Like, Fleta really struggled to get stuff done. There's a lot of kind of architecture you can hide behind, but if you've got double hit scan shooting at you all day long, especially someone like Soldier as well, who has mobility. He's got legs, everybody! He has legs! Imagine having legs.
The character.
Look, we have no leg. We've disappeared now, but look, we have no legs. You know what I mean? Like, imagine having legs. You can run around and you can take flanks and you can off-angle Fleta and pressure Lee Jae-gon as well in the skies. We'll see what they want to do on Route 66 though, Vicky. Very different map in terms of what you can run. I gotta think though, with what Seoul Dynasty running before, and we know how good Gesture is at Orisa as well, do we see Gesture just continue on the Orisa, or do we see him go back to the Wrecking Ball? They are on the defense first, and it does look like, yeah, okay, Wrecking Ball, 2 on the Zarya, Prophet and Fitz on the Sombra and the Hangzhou. So they do not expect the Dragons to run the Pharah at this point, I can imagine.
And little do they know, potentially just swap roles here. We'll see if this is what the Dragons are.
They're in spawn, come on now.
Yeah, true. You always get us at the end.
Wow, look at that. That win rate, 69%, pretty nice. Escort is Shanghai Dragons' best map type against Seoul, 69% win rate. Nice. 11 and 5.
That's what I was thinking. Dragons are really good when it comes to Escort maps, specifically against the Dynasty, so let's see if they can keep that going here. Lip sticking to that Sombra. They are going to make that swap. Got baited. It's okay, though. Izayaki is going to have that Discord orb, so that way Flight could go in for the follow-up and backup bait at the same time.
They were expecting them not to run the fire, and they're not. So perfect. They're still trying to spy check for Lip, though. And for Fitz, to be fair. Tough dive targets off in the high ground. You have Bubbles to contend with, plus Animo on the Brig. It can be very hard to kind of instantly kill Creative. Fate is still trying to set up, just chunking people from behind, but big ol' right click. Oh, nice hack though onto Gesture. Should get double pocket though, so okay for now. Say that, wow. Flo chased him down.
Yeah, they don't let him get away. That was great, because you saw at the same time that Seoul Dynasty, they had their line of sight onto Gesture. They were trying to back him up by putting on a lot of that pressure onto Lit, but you see, Fleta has the ability to just close in that gap, and he found that pick here. Siaki also getting hit with that Discord. Lee Chang-jong taking a lot of that damage. Creative is out too. Just being able to delete him here. Fleta just doing the Fleta things. He is low though, so he's going to be able to help build into some of these ultimates. Siaki's going down. His Prophet's on the Hangzhou.
Yeah, nice little pile driver there. Instant kill with an arrow to the body of Izayaki. They're still pushing this payload fairly far though, Vicky, are the Dragons. And the only issue is, I will point out very quickly for the Dynasty, they don't have someone that can regularly touch the point and zip back to high ground like fast, like a D.Va can, because they're playing Zarya instead. You have to take the long way, the stairs. You can kind of like B-hop, like bunny hop with the right click, just jump, but like rocket jump, I guess. Kind of a rocket, but not really.
Oh, here comes the EMP. Found the opportunity here, but just going to trade that in as Izayaki is the one to get singled out by Fitz. It's going to be better look here for the Shanghai Dragons as they do clean up 3. That's just a matter for the rally from Lijigon to try to close things off, but I believe here the Seoul Dynasty have already backed off, but they're going to try to hold forward, I guess just trying to get into position at this point.
What's it with rallies today and just being used when it's like 2v6? Yeah, not sure about that one. Lijigon, I can imagine. He wish he had that back, considering Animo hadn't used his either. And now they're going to have to fend up against this Graviton Surge too, so... tough situation. They have the Transcendence, but the issue is you can fire the logs into the into the grab, plus follow up with mines too. Another very devastating combo if you're in the middle of it all. You can burst people down through Transcendence. It is possible.
It's all about that healing output from that Transcendence. Here come the minefield now, the Diva Bomb coming in. Lijigon finding that pick onto Prophet with the flail. They're still finding a lot of these trades in their favor, but the Transcendence is going to be activated from Creative, just trying to keep the rest of Dynasty alive. Here comes the grab to stop the approach on the staircase. Boy could just ignore that. He could just fly up on the high ground, but they've lost Lijigon at the same time. Transcendence for Transcendence here is both Izayaki and Creative has used it, but Seoul Dynasty are on that high ground, so they have that position advantage over the Dragons.
Yeah, like I mentioned, you can burst through that Transcendence healing. The Graviton Surge came out, hit both supports. Izayaki was immune, but Lijigon unfortunately wasn't. Only 300 HP. I say only 300 HPS. That's a lot of healing, but if there's 5 people firing at you, you're all good. Nice little right click from Creative though to start off this next couple of minutes, but that does mean Flender's going to have to just AFK just a little longer, so the rest of his team can come back. The sad life of a Tracer in the backline who needs to engage, but your supports or tanks are getting picked.
So he's just re-engaging now, following up with the EMP. He does find Animo, but you currently have Flutter that gets taken down by him. He's trying for the opportunity, even throughout the pulse bomb, but it didn't hit anyone. Even trying to go in for the EMP just was a failure here. The Dragons are being held back, and now the Dynasty are still sitting pretty comfortably on that high ground.
Man, an ultimate that takes a little while to build, especially at these kind of angles too. That he's not regularly farming Gesture, and there's a lot of mitigation as well from 2U to stop those EMPs being generated quickly. He's going to look for a manual hack now. I mean, that's the only thing he really can do. Fits in the back line.
Yeah, he's just trying to isolate.
No one knows.
Lijigon is back there. Oh, and Creative finds him. Talk about timber, setting those logs down. Izayaki is going to have that Disco Orb on him. He's backing off a little bit. See, Creative does have that Transcendence now. Izayaki's also going to try to help match with that, but the only thing to be worried about just yet from either of these teams.
Just another chase away. Fate gets hacked. Shanghai Dragons really struggling right now to push this payload to second point. Gesture has mind. Creative blue trans? Okay, so felt way too pressured by Fleder, it seems.
Yeah, Fleda just forcing that out. Looking great here, too. That's going to be the go button as Lip finds Prophet. Comes Lijigon that has the rally. He's going to activate it to allow the Dragon to finally find their footing on this payload. Getting into position here, just forcing the Seoul Dynasty out of that high ground. It's Animo who's on the side. Let him finally get that revenge. They sandwich him. No man left behind here, as now you currently see Lip getting into position. Does have that EMP for this next fight, and they do manage to finally get to that point B.
Yeah, with 2 minutes to spare as well now. But 2 minutes to finish this point on Route 66. A rather tough affair, if I do say so, especially as Fitz is sitting on an EMP and 2U sitting on a grab. I mean, yeah, Shanghai Dragons, they got a lot of ults too. Problem is, the positioning right now for the Seoul Dynasty, they're all above you in the high ground, in the trees, waiting to pounce.
Fitz too with the EMP, just waiting right here behind the Dragons, but they have an EMP themselves. Oh, they try to utilize that too. Rather on to Creative, and they do find him. Fitz still has his EMP, but with that, 2U getting both of the supports out of the Shanghai Dragons, out of that grab. Fleda gonna answer right back with the pulse bomb. Currently the Dragons, they're unfazed here, it's fine. Oh, you could take that grab, you could take our supports. They're gonna be coming right back here. So the rest of the Dragons hold that front line, and they're also still getting progress with the card still.
Yeah, Lip actually EMP'd in that fight. I heard the entire voice line go off, but I saw nobody hacked on the other side of the Seoul Dynasty, so questionable. Not entirely sure what happened there. Maybe a very, very late cancel or just didn't hit anybody, a proper mem, but Wow. Okay, now Fizz with the EMP on the sidelines. This better get a little bit of summon.
At least at the side.
Oh, he tried to bait there. Did you see? He tried to bait Izayaki.
The Transcendence, yeah, exactly, right there. He wanted to pressure him, too. Here comes Fate now with the minefields. Does find creative. Payload driving right into him, too, sending him closer to those minefields. Here comes a Transcendence coming in. Fitz still activated that EMP, and Fleta still find Chester. This is looking good here for the Dragons as they are trying to clean up around Seoul Dynasty. They're struggling here one by one after the Transcendence has been activated. That's the go button, and they get off. They're not there. The Dragons now move in, find that payload into the finish line. It's unfortunate too, though, because you saw the ball was right there. It was unfortunate. The EMP just pressured them out. They knew that the Dragons were just going to clean up.
That was it. It was just the EMP there at the very end. I mean, Creative uses Transcendence early, and Lip, he knew the timing, threw it straight in the air. As soon as he hit that EMP, the Transcendence had dissipated, and the rest of the Dynasty knew that was going to come about as well. They knew that healing wasn't going to be there, so they backed off, and, well, bada bing, bada boom. They end up sinking that payload into that golden box of victory at the very end there of Route 66. 20 seconds on the board. Not a bad offense. Struggled a little bit on point B. These fights are very chaotic, Vicky. There's a lot of like small skirmishes happening at one time, ending in like this kind of big crescendo of EMPs and Transcendences, or self-destructs even as well. It's Lip kind of dueling out, trying to make sure he puts pressure on Gesture, and Tuyu as well, just trying to build up towards the EMP, and then he's kind of trying to bait out the Transcendence from the support or the rally or something, or just a cooldown. There's also small little skirmishes. The ball's trying to get in position. Also, like, lots of small things happening. Can't quite catch everything at once. I do want to see that EMP again from Lip on the final point.
I feel like
the sound, the voice line went off, but no one was hacked on Seoul Dynasty unless he instantly died and I just missed it. Okay, Prophet Torb, one of my favorite things to watch in the Overwatch League. Prophet Torbjorn. Bunker comp now on offense for the Seoul Dynasty.
A different approach too for the Dynasty as they go around this corner. The Dragons, they don't have a shield here to really hold those front lines here, so they're gonna have Lip just trying to go into those back lines, but now having to be wary of that turret is gonna put a little bit of a stall here onto Lip's plan to try to get that EMP as fast as possible.
They just want to stop on high ground now, Vicky. They're rotating as fast as they can. I mean, Fitz is already up here. Nice little flash to scare Fate away, and Izayaki falls already. As soon as this comp from the Dynasty takes control of Big O's here on the high ground, they're as good as golden. Fate knows that too, trying to push everybody away. D-Mech kill on Fate as well. This is a good offense right now from the Seoul Dynasty. Read the comp from the Dragons like a book. They knew what they needed to do. They were forcing a split as well from the Dragons because Fate was like, oh no, we have to force them from high ground. And then Void was like, well, I need to save Izayaki. Izayaki died. Like, what is that turret positioning? Excuse me?
Right? It's so sneaky.
What? It's like a Doomfist resting spot up there. You know, like a little spot you can just kind of hold as Doomfist. Although that spot would be pretty useless, but that is an interesting place for the turret. I'm going to try that one out in my Torbjorn
Definitely
games.
Cheeky. Definitely cheeky. Now the Dragons do have the positional advantage on the high ground. They backed off in time. With the Dynasty now just trying to find the opportunity. Ooh, Fitz, one. He does have the Deadeye to control some of that space and respect. You see Lip, though, who's getting ready, trying to get into position to activate that EMP. Tries to isolate the supports, does find Animo. Make a gesture and to you, too. They have some ultimates reaching soon, that they're going to have soon, rather, and no follow-ups from the EMP was unfortunate because that was really the name of the game here. So much pressure with Void getting demegged and now Fleta going down. It's just Fate getting that pick and the Transcendence, allowing the Dragons to get into position, but it may just be too late. Creative finding two. Both of the supports from the Dragons, they're gone, and the minefields aren't going to be enough to stop them from rotating and to push this payload forward. It's looking like Jaws, the Sobra is, EMPs are just not being able to get followed up from. The turret may just be too much of a pressure tool from the Dynasty, and now they have so many ultimates to work with.
Yeah, I mean, the turret got hacked there. Come on now. I mean, you have to follow up if you're Fate there. You have to just jump in, throw the mines down, or at least do a pile driver. Like, something needs to happen. Izayaki went for an aggressive Transcendence. Like, this fight is as good as over almost. Luckily, they take care of turret. But they got the position in Seoul Dynasty in a good spot.
And now looking a lot better. Having that high ground. Here comes the Molten Core all around the payload, clearing it forward. Easy Hockey goes down again. Supercharger coming in from Jester, but the EMP finding 4 to you also. But Animal and Creative, they back off, and they also have the Immortality field to you popping off. Lip finally getting a pick, but it's just on the Animo, and the rest of the Seoul Dynasty have the number advantage. And they're also just reaching, they're inching closer to that point P, but you see Lip, he wasn't there to touch, he didn't want to, he just backs off here. He knew that the rest of the Dragons wouldn't be able to move in.
A very classic Lip, building these EMPs like they're nothing, and throwing them in and getting nothing. No kills are happening, I mean maybe one, if that, but the comp from the Seoul Dynasty is just so defensively orientated, it's very hard to even focus people down, even if they are EMP'd.
Yeah.
It's just over to Hangzhou now to try and just pick someone off and just put pressure on the shields, which they're doing now. Nice pulse bomb, eaten by 2U. A little bit of lag there, but we good, we're back. Fitz as well, he's no HP. He gets DM'd as 2U and survives and kills Void.
How is he alive?
Like the Seoul Dynasty,
I don't understand.
They're actually moving like a giant battleship right now through the Dragons. There is nothing stopping them, just taking to the waves, destroying everything in their path. Like the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean.
They're on the fast track lane right now, and they're taking position 2. The Dragons, noticing that the Dynasty are just playing so much more reserved, and now they're on a tier. They're on a momentum run. They have not been stopped so far since they got to that second point, Jaws. Prophet now finding Void after he gets demeched. The rally coming in from Lee Jae-gon to at least keep the rest of the Dragons in position. Look how quick the Dynasty disengage here. They're opting to go for a different rotation. Possibly to the side room. Oh, they change their mind. They're going to be backing off, and they're going on the other side.
Taking the high grounds where their comp does best. Prophet is going to try and sneak it in.
Oh,
nice pulse bomb.
Still managed to get the pulse bomb right. And Animal actually had gotten the shield bash too at the same time, but that pulse bomb finding its stick, that's definitely going to do it. And now they do manage to get some time and some space to breathe.
Still a fair bit of time in the time bank though. Shouldn't be too much of a hard ask, especially since you have 4 ultimates online. And 1 for the Dragons. That Transcendence is going to have to be rather ginormous in order to save them from all the damage boosts. And I'm just saying, window, a lot of damage. Fizz can use that Delay through it as well, almost insta-kill people too. Like, there is a lot that Izayaki needs to be able to deal with, and the picking and choosing the right time to use that Transcendence is going to be critical in this next fight.
You have the Superchargers though, your Jaws, and that's going to be a lot of damage coming in. You have Fitz in the back line just trying to get into position. Izayaki though is on the back line. He has a Transcendence. They forced it out. He's backing out too, but the Ant Matrix, you talk about that and how that's going to clear some space. Meanwhile, Lip getting 2, not only finding a head, but also finding Jester with the Dragons. Minute and 40 seconds, ticking away from the Seoul Dynasty as they lose this fight. They have to reset with the Dragons moving all the way up. They utilized not too much here, just the Dragons and the Transcendence, but that Transcendence is huge here when it comes to those last fight situations.
4 ults versus 1 Vicky. How did they do it? And Izayaki used his Transcendence to get out of the way of D.Va. Like, he didn't even use it defensively. Offensively. Like, he used it super defensively just to try and get out of dodge. Like, that's all he did. They didn't try and run people down before they could use ults. Oh no, he used it for himself. Look at the ults now for the Shanghai Dragons. The tables have completely turned.
You see Lip just trying to get into position, but doesn't have EMP. Just tries to find a hack onto Creative. Immediate retaliation. Now Prophet's found Izayaki. He won't be in this fight. It's just Lee Jae-gon with the rally to keep the rest of the Dragons up. See Void now trading that for Prophet. Fitz is hacked, but he's taking a lot of damage. They do find them, finally closing in. 40 seconds left here for the Dynasty to get that payload to the finish box. See the Dragons doing a much better job on holding this aggressive positioning around the corner, and they're pushing all the way up, almost to their spawn.
Yeah, Lip's gonna have another EMP for sure. God, he charges them so fast. 86%, 15% away. 14, fine. Give me that extra 1. They need to touch as well. Shouldn't be too much of an issue with gesture, but they're against EMP now.
Creative does have Transcendence, though. If Creative doesn't get called out, this EMP is going to be negated. See Lip just trying to get into position right here. Oh, but he gets detected. He has to back off. They know he's right there. They know he's just trying to get into position. He utilizes an EMP, does find gesture to you, also gets demeched. Fitz goes down, or rather he gets discorded. He's taking too much damage. Prophet was the one that went down first. Now currently the Dragons, they're cleaning up the Dynasty. Nobody left in sight to touch this point, especially with those minefields out there. The Dragons, they take the map, and they're putting themselves back on board. They're tired of it, Jaws. Although the Dynasty still put up a really good fight for that escort map, and despite that map being one of the best for the Dragons when it comes to facing off in this matchup, that was pretty close, a lot closer than I was expecting.
Put up a fight, Vicky. They had almost 5 minutes, like, it might as well have been 40 for point 3. They had 4 minutes and something for point 3, and they just couldn't sink it home. A fantastic defense from the Shanghai Dragons. Series is 1 apiece. Who takes the next map? Who knows? We're going to find out after this break. We'll see you in a sec.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
we continue to battle our circadian rhythms, the Seoul Dynasty are still battling the Shanghai Dragons. One apiece in the series, Vicky, as we head into map number 3, which is going to be Temple of Anubis. Up next, Route 66. Oh man, I think Seoul Dynasty want to look back in the VODs for that one. They had 4 minutes. 4 minutes on point C or point 3, whatever you want to call it. That's a crazy time back. They steamrolled A and B. Just C was just a block, a roadworks, rubble on the road, landslide, brick wall, whatever you want to call it. It was the Shanghai Dragons building it. They were able to stop them and just kind of negate so much that the Seoul Dynasty had. Seoul Dynasty came into one fight with 4 ults online. 4. Izayaki had 1 transcendence and he used it for himself, and they still couldn't get it to the golden box at the very end. Oh, it's a shame. I mean, that momentum can be a killer sometimes.
Again, and the Dragons did a really good job at coming back at the very end there. Their defense really held strong. But now as we move on to a map number 3, Jaws, can they keep it going? Because right now, this doesn't seem like the Dragons that I've seen earlier on. Throughout the rest of the season, actually. So at this point, it looks like they're just trying to adapt on the fly, and the Seoul Dynasty doing a really good job on trying to run a much close bunker composition to force out the fact that these EMPs aren't as impactful as they would have liked, or rather the Dragons would have liked. This is essentially just not allowing the Dragons to play that same game, yet nonetheless they were able to hold that defense in the last point. And it gets so difficult too when you have that narrow hallway to deal with for that last point, where you also have that verticality on the other side where you could utilize that to a different approach, get into a different position. Seoul Dynasty couldn't even do that. They couldn't even go in for a reposition because they couldn't even get back onto the point. Those minefields blocking their rotation. Right now, the Dragons, they're looking great, though, and they're able to get a point on board. It's a tied series on our hands.
It's a tied series. It is indeed. Looks like the Seoul Dynasty will have the chance to attack first. Oh, man. Very different style of play, of course, going from map to map. I mean, we saw the double hit scan on Nepal for Seoul Dynasty. They knew exactly what the Shanghai Dragons were going to run with Fleta on Farah. It was almost 2 telegraphed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Route 66 completely
too.
different. But they did end up running the Orisa again. And it did end up working for point A and B, but point C, like I mentioned before, they just couldn't crack. Is that going to be the same case this time around? Looks like Dragons are going to play them at their own game. So a little bit of Orisa, a little bit of Farah action. Farah's way better on this though, and just in like in 2CP or like Assault, it's way better because you have so much more natural cover of these high ground. There's obviously the little platform in front of the little bridge you can hide up on, wait for people to come in, and you have to take an angle aggressively if you're the Seoul Dynasty if you want to punish Fleta.
I'm taking a look though at the Seoul Dynasty and what they're running out with 2U on the Zarya. Gonna be able to run that double bubble composition, get some of that charge going, and Fitz back on the Sombra here too. And Fleta is still trying out with this Farah. We saw what happened after the first map, Jaws. Wonder here, the Seoul Dynasty were able to kind of shut down Fleta. They don't have the double hit scan that Fleta needs to worry about.
Yeah, this is all about just Profit trying to tag Fleta and Lee Jae-gon more often than not, like Lee Jae-gon, so 2U can finish off the kill. Or just do that, go for a nice manual hack. Can't finish him up though.
They forced him to back off, and now Lip taking a lot of damage here. He's back though in the front lines. You saw the attempt from the Seoul Dynasty to try to get onto that point. They have to be wary as Profit and Fitz could be sneaky right behind them. Maybe another manual hack coming in from Lip as they make their way over through the choke point. They find Lee Jae-gon, and that's going to put a dent to the Dragons' plans.
And Lee Jae-gon's there. Like I said, Profit just needs to chunk away at Lee Jae-gon's health bar. Forces Yaki to do something, forces Lee Jae-gon to play defensively.
See Fleta actually backing off too.
With Fate going down too.
Fate going down and Void getting hacked. Right here, the EMP already built up by Lip. It does fight for the follow from Fleta. He has the rocket bras. They're low too, but he has to be wary. He does see Animal right there. He doesn't want to trickle himself in. He gets stunned. I was wondering if he was actually going to funnel himself in, but with Lee Jae gone right there, he went for the attempt, but the sleep from Creative? Okay, and the nano boost too while he's at it. The Seoul Dynasty are wasting no time to take this first point already in the map. That's it. The rest of Dragons, it's time for a reset to hold that second point.
Wow, I cannot believe Animo survived that. It was no HP as Fleta was just barraging right on top of him. Fleta swapped up. Yeah, there's no way he stays on fire. Beautiful rally to start off the engagement.
And with that rally, though, Void gets hacked again. Animo was trying to find the opportunity, an anti onto Prophet, and now an EMP does hit Lee Jae and Fate Void getting demeched in that moment, too. They do find both of the tanks now from the Dragons. No space going to be able to get created, but with Lee Jae still around to get that res onto Fate, can build into that primal. See them just trying to back off, but the amount of pressure onto Lee Jae, Fitz finishes things off, closes that kill, and now Fleta's so low, forced to back off into the health pack. The rest of the Seoul Dynasty, though, they're already making their way over, so we need to touch. They do manage to at the very end. It was looking so close. Big EMP's found 4, but no kills to follow up. Almost looking like the last map when Lip was on Sombra.
Nice little sleep. They got 2 ticks. They need 5% more. Creative and Prophet end up going down.
Oh,
it should just be it. Gesture's dead too. That'll be the clean up for the Seoul Dynasty, going all the way back to spawn. They do manage to find 2 ticks though. 95% also. They don't end up actually capping. But I can imagine they will. They're going to run back into this fight. Well, with a primal, and pulse, EMP. So pretty good. So pretty good. Again, so that is Yaki and how he duels the Sombra in this fashion. He ideally just doesn't need to get EMP, doesn't want to get hacked, doesn't want to get EMP. He needs to apply the nano onto Gesture or 2. Sorry, I'm looking at different teams. It's late. Please forgive me. Anyway, EMP.
Good. Instead, the EMP ends up wrapping things up for you, Jaws, and with Fleta going down, Seoul Dynasty have a green light to move in. They don't have the nano boost, but instead it's the nano boost from the Dragons going in. Fate is going to be able to hold that front line, and he has that primal to go in for a reset too. Bubble coming down, backing off ever so slightly. They're just trying to waste some more of that time away from Dynasty, but they note that Prophet's just trying to get into position onto their back line, having to be wary. Another EMP, but this time finding only Fate. Or rather, Lip now, not finding anyone. I thought actually right here you saw Fitz into position, but it actually was just Lip. Meanwhile, the Shanghai Dragons, they're still holding on to 2 ultimates, and Lee Jae-gon's actually rallying soon here, already at 90%.
Yeah, and they have 2 tank ults as well. And this looks like a... Hey, I'm not going to call it right now, because we've seen crazier things already. 4 ults versus 1. Or 4 ults versus none, and the Dragons still winning these. Nice sleep. Oh, Gesture is mad.
Oh, not like this, too. Now with 2U just backing off ever so slightly, contested on the point with 3 members of the Dragons right there to stop them. Dynasty backing off after losing Prophet. Fitz also taking a nap, and they shut him down. Izuyaki popping off on this Ana, despite that anti coming out from Creative.
Nice little hold for the Shanghai Dragons. Only 1 minute 50 remains now for the Seoul Dynasty. Again, same situation as they were in about 2 minutes ago. It's about Fitz, about Izuyaki. Izuyaki needs to nano the hacked tank to make sure they don't instantly evaporate.
They do isolate Void, though, over to the side, who used that rocket booster, just trying to back off, go back into the line of sight of Izuyaki, but he gets demeched in the process, and he gets deleted as he just hangs outside of that Jester circle, the shield rather, and now the EMP coming in. Fleta, Izuyaki getting called out by it. Fleta's the one to go down as Jester actually just jumps on top of him. Lip does find Fitz, though, after he utilized that EMP, and now a Diva Bomb getting sent over to the spawn towards the Shanghai Dragons. Void coming out of the spawn, now angry, finding Prophet, Jester getting his revenge, and he has a Diva Bomb, too, to go for a reset just in case. They're cleaning things up in that side room, and this is what happens when you funnel yourself over there, and Fleta has the pulse. He's angry, he's tired of it, and their defense is just looking so strong that the Seoul Dynasty just cannot chip through.
95% for the Seoul Dynasty. They got 2 ticks already. They just need that final one to struggle streak right now, and they go for a swap up. They're actually putting 2U on the Zarya. Is the Zarya even going to get grabbed this time? When's the engagement really going to start? Maybe 25 seconds, maybe 20? The likelihood of him getting grabbed on Surge here is extremely slim, unless he gets 100 energy and gets nano, but it's already on Gesture. And look, everybody from the Seoul Dynasty runs away. Izayaki goes down first, though.
And the way that the Dragons are playing split up here too, they're just forcing the Seoul Dynasty to make a decision. It's contested, but you have less than 10 seconds to get onto this point. Void getting demeched here and Fate getting deleted. They're doing it right now, Jaws. I don't know how. The rally forced out from Lee Jae-gon as he backs up, but Izayaki's gone and the rest of the Dragons are going to meet him in the spawn. Overtime now taking away, and Dynasty, I don't know how they did it, but they did with the swap. Now diving all the way in with Creative and that nano boost. Gesture just enough to clear out that space. EMP now onto Fate and Void. There's only so long the Dragons could try to stay here. The nano boost now onto Lip. They're trying desperately to keep this into overtime, but the picks are not going in their favor.
Tragic. Absolutely tragic from Lip. He tried to do the punch and jump over the little lip of the... Yeah, I mean, this is just finally over. Yeah, that was a little bit tragic comedic play there from Lip. I do that a lot, where I like jump and punch at the same time, just doesn't go over the wall. And he wasn't able to connect with anybody, so he had to take the long, sad route around, and then got blown up by the rest of the Seoul Dynasty. They do end up capping, as they had 4 minutes plus. Oh, this was insane. Oh, it doesn't show his HP, but look, you can just see it. Look how low he was.
Literally one.
Nice bit of support play from both Animo and Creative, keeping each other alive and shutting down the Farah barrage. Very nice work on point A. But yeah, massive time bank, what I was saying before, massive time bank. Now 0 seconds. Shanghai Dragons with a unreal defense.
Consistently too, but the Dynasty, they broke through at the very end. They have no time though in that time bank, so now they have to be the ones to be the anchor to hold back the Dragons, because they made some swaps at the very end. Trying to see if the Dragons may opt to go for a different approach, because that Farah is just not working out against the Seoul Dynasty. Even when they weren't running the double hit scan, it's like, it's not the double hit scan, it's gonna be Creative.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, there's no real shocker here for the Dragons comp, to be fair. Fed on the Tracer. I don't think I don't think there was any real way he was going to play anything else on this map, especially on offense. Makes sense with Farah on defense, but offense a little bit less so. So much more high ground to take as well if you are the defense. So the Farah gets even less effective, because the effective range for every kind of hit scan is kind of waiting. Who's waiting for the Farah ends up just dominating it when they're on defense. Now Lip just setting up the backlines. This is, they want to just hack 2U here, or Gesture, or somebody, stop him from going golden, or stopping that defense mage, and then trying to blow up the tank.
You have to get into position for your first, at least for Lip. They're taking a lot of that damage, but trying to dive in with Fate. He gets taken out by Prophet here. Fate backing off. They trade that for Fitz, and Prophet now is the one that's hacked, but he manages to get away. See the way that this is playing so chaotically with Dragons having that high ground position, but they're not trying to get too overly aggressive. They're trying to wait for that opportunity before diving back in, and that's what they were waiting for. Helping out Fate is Void, just trying to boot the Seoul Dynasty off, but look how much damage Creative is putting on while he is on that high ground. They need to do something about that as Prophet goes down. They trade that for Lip. Here comes the nano boost. Izayaki putting that onto Fate, but look how quickly he gets deleted by Creative. The follow-up too from the Discord orb, that's what you get here when you have that positioning. You just go back and forth between those two spots.
That was so sad for Fate. He got hacked, so he couldn't even jump. So he's just sat on the ground. No bubble available either. Nice Defiant from Prophet. Wow, Lip goes down as well. Hang on a second. Yep, this should be a full reset at this point. No positioning granted. Ooh, nice little blink melee recall. Finish off Lee Jae-gon as well. God, Prophet is so entertaining to watch as a Tracer player. I think a high-level Tracer, just any character with mobility, the skill ceiling for that is just unbelievably big. So seeing good players on those type of heroes, it's candy for the eyes.
Absolutely great. Ankle breaking, you want to see it here. So many ultimates online from both these teams here. See Boyd now trying to utilize that, but 2U eating the pulse bomb from Fleta. Fleta just trying to get into position here in the supercharger now. It's going to be pressuring as it is behind that Orisa shield, and you see Dragons struggling, just trying to get into position. They have to deal with this positioning from Creative too. That's just been so lethal, and he has a Transcendence now to deal with. Comes the EMP though. Creative was safely in the backlines. He's coming in with the Transcendence. 2U gets the Diva Bomb kill onto Izayaki, but they trade that for 2U. It doesn't matter though, because of that Transcendence. Seoul Dynasty, they lived through that EMP, and now they can just get right back into position, wasting more time away from the Dragons.
1 minute to go. Dynasty, they're looking super good. Super good, even though Lib's EMPs are being generated a little bit faster than Fitz's. Doesn't really seem to phase them whatsoever. Oh, Pulse Bomb shouldn't get much, only a little bit of damage, but Fake is instantly bursted again.
May just wait at this point for Izayaki to get that nano boost and just boost Fate going into that point. Reset for that primal is what I'm thinking. They have less than 30 seconds now. Jaws and the Seoul Dynasty, they're still holding on to this aggressive position with Creative just trying to build into that next Transcendence.
They're turning Fate to soup right now. They're going to make the jump again. Fate's nanoed.
Now going to be able to try to dive in. He is on that plateau. He's trying to isolate. Does find Prophet. He was forced to back off a little bit, but with the rest of the team, he's waiting for the Dragons to just dive in. They don't have the nano boost here, and they don't have Izayaki while they're at it. Lee Jae-gon is also stuck in the room. Needs some help, but there's nothing that anybody from the Dragons can do at this point, especially when it comes to Fate, who was trying to primal them away. Currently, the Seoul Dynasty, they win this fight against the Dragons, and nobody left from the Dragons to touch this point. Seoul Dynasty, they take the map, and now they're at match point.
Support Stay Alive challenge very hard for the Shanghai Dragons. Izayaki got picked over and over again by Creative. Creative with the volleys, with the right clicks, or just like casual throwing out the palms with the left clicks. My goodness, you can't get taken down that cleanly over and over and over again by the enemy Zenyatta. You just can't if you're Izayaki. You can't let yourself be in those situations where Creative's doing free damage. Wow. Seoul Dynasty might be handing Shanghai Dragons their third loss of the Countdown Cup Qualifiers and might be gaining their third win as well, continuing their undefeated streak. We'll have to see if that's the case after this break. Don't go anywhere. Seoul Dynasty potentially about to deal the final blow to the Dragons in this series, handing them yet another L in the Countdown Cup Qualifiers. Vicky, the Shanghai Dragons, they're 2-0 coming into today. They could be 3-0 in just a moment. Shanghai Dragons not looking great at all. It's been a very, very tough road. They're 2-1 right now. Seoul Dynasty about to take it if they can win at Blizzard World. Oh my word, I haven't got any words at this point. Gonna be honest with you, it's not been a clean look. Like Control, they got rolled. There's been very small signs of life here and there, but a full hold on Anubis for the Seoul Dynasty. They're looking clean.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I was noting was the Dragons, their defense is looking so great, but then at the same time, when you look at Seoul Dynasty and the way they just played that, I'm worried. Going into map number 4, seeing that we're going to be moving on to Blizzard World here, Jaws, do you think that the Dragons are going to be struggling here too? Do you think that they're just not finding their footing in the Countdown Cup? What is going on? This is going to be the third time that we see the Dragons fall, and now to the number 2 team in the East, and this was almost expected. When you take a look at the Seoul Dynasty and how strong of a team this has been so far, I was almost expecting this after the Dragons' performance last weekend. But based on paper, based on the results from the Dragons, I was thinking here, all right, it's the second week into the Countdown Cup. You're running out of time here. Maybe we're going to see a different look from the Dragons, but that wasn't the case. Now we're going on to match point for the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, you definitely expect the Shanghai Dragons to bounce back with a little bit more vigor than they have been. I mean, oh word. Blizzard World, not a crazy good map as well for the Shanghai Dragons, Vicky.
Yeah, this is actually a map that I believe the Seoul Dynasty have been able to beat the Shanghai Dragons on, I believe, 3-0 all time. So maybe the Dynasty are feeling pretty confident going into this map. I mean, I would, especially after that last map on Anubis. So going into this upcoming map, what are you expecting to see from the Dragons, Jaws? Are you expecting to see Flair try out the Pharah again, or is that just done and dusted?
Yeah, that's got to be done and dusted at this point, I feel, just because the sightlines on Blizzard World are just too strong for you to even consider a Pharah. Definitely never known as a Pharah map. But a little bit of Echo here and there.
Or
Torb goes out
maybe.
the pools, so Torbjorn is, yeah, could be. The sightlines for Torb also, yeah, pretty nice. But the hit scan is just so prevalent here because there's 2 main avenues which you get to point A, unless you go on like a big long flank through the mega room on the right hand side if you're looking at, if you're an attacker. There's 2 big avenues and you can basically see all the way to the spawn, right, if you're a hit scan. So pretty tough to play the Pharah. So I can imagine we're going to see something like the Torb or something a little bit more defensive orientated. I was going to scream then for a second because I saw Flutter hovering the Pharah, but then I remembered that Seoul Dynasty on offense first. So, Seoul Dynasty on defense first. So this is something that you kind of expect. Either long-range hit scan or some other kind of sniper in Hangzhou. There's still a lot of shield pressure if the Shanghai Dragons play the Orisa as well, if they go for this mirror. So playing the Hangzhou here, not bad whatsoever. Storm arrows can be fairly lethal at short range too, so any kind of dive also very hindered by that. Lip starting out on Widow. I can imagine it's just a TP, Widow shot, and then TP back. Or grapple back.
Oh.
You could have just TP'd. I mean, it's right next to you, but it's okay. Understandable. There you go. So, okay, they're almost going to mirror them here, except for the Orisa and Ball, which changes the comps obviously dramatically. Hyper defense versus hyper offense.
Oh, they backed off after seeing that too. You see the Seoul Dynasty immediately disengaging, going in for a different rotation. Meanwhile, you see Prophet bring that fight over here to Fate, but Lip is the one to go down first. The Jester actually following up out of that Discord orb that Creative set up for him.
Yeah, big halt. Halt into some storm arrows or just a couple of arrows, and then Gesture just clicks on them too. That's the biggest tool difference you have if you're the Seoul Dynasty. The halts can be so deadly on squishy targets with so much follow-up. Oh, Prophet almost got right-clicked. Big flank, like I mentioned. This is the other kind of route you can take, or route. I should stop saying route, it's route. English, British English, route.
You know, somebody as first language of Spanish out here is difficult. But you know what? With 4 variations of like theirs going on, there's the Dragons, and now they're trying to rotate over to the side.
There's Fleta dead.
Yeah, there's Fleta gone,
and there's
too.
Fate. Oh, almost in the drink.
Fitz does have the Dragons, and he's going to utilize it after forcing them to rotate over to the side. Oh, Fitz still also gets that pick onto Elijah Egon. Dragons, where are you? Because right now, it's not here. The Dynasty being able to build into some of these ultimates already, cleaning the fight out.
Let's go back and talk about language again. That's fun. I mean, route as well, also something you do when you're like running away. Route, like Roman centurions routing from a battle, for example. The Shanghai Dragons routing from the Countdown Cup.
Actually terrible. Another bad word is bi-weekly. Is it 2 times in 1 week or once every other week? Oh man, that's the beauty. If you see the definition, it's like 2 separate words, but that's not a separate tracer. It's just Prophet coming in, finding Fleta, who was trying to go for a flank actually on the Seoul Dynasty. Creative also has that Transcendence at the ready. So does Iziaki. So, but right now it's just looking like the Dragons are struggling on where to approach the Dynasty. They can't really find a good route to follow through.
I mean, they're just getting wrecked, is what they're getting right now. This isn't even a competition. Seoul Dynasty just keep finding picks over and over again. Post one available for Prophet. Big engage, fits low.
Oh, and they follow up. And do you hate the Dragons too, by the way? We heard the soundbite, but not going to be out in the field. Kind of popping off, but it's not going to be enough. He gets taken down after getting punished by that Diva Bomb after he utilized the Pulse Bomb, but now it's going to be the Seoul Dynasty who are still sticking on to this point. They've lost their main tank. It's up to 2U. The Dragons now rotating over to the side room, isolating the Dynasty. Finally seeing an opening into getting onto this point. The Dynasty aren't going to give it up too easily, though, because they're still managing to put on some pressure to get some of these ultimates going. Oh, they're still going to touch, though. Oh, but probably gets shut down immediately.
Yeah, they forced out self-destruct. I'll take that one. Fleta with the deadlift carry there at the very end. Takes down 2 with him. Fade away post bomb. Did die to self-destruct. Whoops-a-daisy. Literally ran straight into the big glowing ship and decided to, well, you know, just face plant. That's fine. He did his carrying. It's time for him to rest.
Well worth there too. The Dragons did take them some time, but they did follow up at the very end there after Fleta got taken down. So was Lip too, but now the Dynasty can actually get into position
now,
too.
Vicky, as well. Look,
Torb is out.
Prophet is on top. Now Fitz on the Kree. Hyper defensive comp. They have creative on the back as well. It's going to be very hard to dive this comp. And not only that, look at where they're going to position. Straight on the payload. Although, with Animo falling, makes it a little bit more deadly.
With this positioning, the way that the Dragons are kind of spread out actually from both angles, it's so difficult for the Dynasty to actually pinpoint who to dive down when some of the supports from the Dragons were even hanging out in that side room there.
Yeah, it feels like the Seoul Dynasty needs to kind of secure high ground and not just all jump on the payload. It kind of sucked that Lip did end up getting a headshot on Animo, just instantly taking him out of the game, but Fleda just creates so much space on the payload alone. He has Pulse Bomb at his back as well.
See him already getting into position too. He knows that Prophet is right there, just trying to bring that fight over to him in the mirror. Here comes Fate though, Pal driving through, does get hit with the flail. Backing off just a little bit, but the Transcendence has been out from Izayaki. The Pulse Bomb now from Fitz. That was an aggressive Transcendence just to get the Dragons into position to move forward on the Dynasty so that way they can control the space to get this payload to that second point. Currently, with Izayaki going down, though, this just leaves things up to Lee Jae-gon to keep the rest of the team alive. But the remake pick onto Creative. Supposed to be smaller now, by the way.
Love to see it. Problem is, the spawn point for the Seoul Dynasty is so close that regardless of how much damage Fleta and Void were doing, it didn't really matter in the end at all. So now they got 50 seconds, now 40 seconds remaining. Very, very tough situation. That was a very well played from the Dynasty, kind of absorbing that aggression and trying to make the Dragons overextend all that time as well. The Dragons weren't actually on the payload, so they lost a little bit of wiggle room there. It felt like maybe Fleta should have stuck on the payload a little bit longer. But he was
actually
doing a lot
quite
of damage,
interesting.
so kind of makes sense.
You say that, yeah. They were pulled up so far away with that Transcendence, but no one was pushing the payload. Meanwhile, TU gets that Diva Bomb pick onto Izayaki, and that opportunity may not present itself again for the Dragons. You see the way that the Seoul Dynasty are playing, talk about getting that high ground. They've learned their lesson. You can see some of them already hanging up there. The Dragons are just waiting for the opportunity to contest because it's going to be set to overtime and they need to stay on the point.
They do get the touch, but Face already dead, Vicky.
See Lee Jae-gon just trying to move all the way back, but he gets halted, he gets pulled into the line of sight as they're just cleaning things up, and the Seoul Dynasty would look to be them faltering on their defense. The Dragons still managed to not cap that second point. It's just unfortunate there that they had overextended, but again, that payload just did not reach that checkpoint.
Very clear win condition now for the Seoul Dynasty. They best be happy with themselves. They're about to hand Shanghai Dragons, if they can make it all the way to second point, their third loss in the Countdown Cup Qualifiers. I can't overstate this enough. I don't think anybody would expect the Shanghai Dragons of all teams to be in this sort of situation. I mean, they've been dominating a lot of these tournaments, Vicky. And now they're about to get knocked out before they even make it there.
And they're bringing out their best here, Jaws. Like, this is the Dragons trying, honestly. And even though they're opting to try different compositions themselves, the Sombra not working out, not being able to get a follow-up. The Torb from the Dynasty, while they were the ones on the defense, was working out beautifully, holding on to a lot of the pressure from further away sight lines that really forced Fleta to try to get onto those flanks and reposition because of that pressure. But overall, with that, you currently have the Seoul Dynasty just this map away from taking care of the Shanghai Dragons this weekend. It's actually insane to look at this team and how a lot of the other teams in the APAC region have closed in that gap, taking so long, but it still managed to be done.
Yeah, same kind of thing, just zipping up, getting maybe headshot, but probably shooting shield, going all the way back. I always like it though, it's definitely worth doing, just in case. I remember this was a long time ago, maybe in 2018 or something. I remember Kai, or he was KSP back then, but he, on Goat's meta, jumped out of the window, headshotted somebody on King's Row and started off the fight, and they won the fight just off of that, because obviously it was Goat's meta, so... You never underestimate the power of a Spawn Widow on offense. Just getting a quick pick. Speaking of quick picks...
so lethal, too. Oh, Fate actually coming right back in. actually pretty impressive here. Seoul Dynasty being able to find those 2 ticks. The Dragons, though, are going to put a stop to that with Fleta coming back in, popping off with this Tracer, and being able to get these follows from Izayaki, who's also getting some of those. Wants a piece of the cake, too, you know? He wants to be able to get in on the action. Can't give it all to Fleta. Backing off, though, here. Seoul Dynasty not going to be able to get that, but still managed to get 2 ticks, nonetheless.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that if I was the Seoul Dynasty, honestly. You get 2 ticks basically for free. The only problem is Lip is Lip, and he farmed EMP fast. So he's going to have it for this fight 100%. They're going to need kind of a miracle play, because there's no way a Lamp is going to be able to sustain through all the damage this EMP is going to do unless Whip does a classic and just whiffs. Izayaki got forced Transcendence. They forced.
That they won't have. Oh, there comes the EMP right now, but it. Meme EMP here? Lip not going to be able to find anything.
I mean, getting Gesture there is almost perfect.
Yeah, that's
Vicky, honestly.
huge, right? Yeah, that's,
can't go golden, and they can't move up as well. They can only kind of hide and cower in this corridor because they don't have a shield to play behind at this point. There's too much spam damage coming through from the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, you can see also the Discord Orb just putting on so much pressure. Fitz actually forcing to back off, getting out of that line of sight. But look, they're not giving up. They're actually taking this rally over to the side room. It's chaotic. Comes a Diva Bomb now, too. It does find Izayaki, but the Immortality Field... Actually, yeah, the fact that they wanted to bring that fight over and then Animal with the rally, look how quickly they realized the situation, but it was too late. Now the Dynasty, they're able to start escorting this payload for free after that last fight. They were looking scary too, because you mentioned it. Yeah, Lip was able to get Gesture, but at the same time, they had that room to retreat to. That was their makeshift shield right there.
Oh my word. Yeah, makeshift shield indeed, Vicky. I mean, 2 just sent the bomb into the back. I mean, they had to look 1 or 2 ways, right? And they can't look every single way at once. They even look at the Seoul Dynasty and try and kill them, while they look backwards and try and guard themselves from the self-destruct. This comp does Seoul Dynasty's comp does a very good job of sitting on this payload as well, just moving it as fast as possible. And with a kill onto Fate, big reset for the Dragons. It's up to Lip once again with his EMP. 65% of the way there.
Although they're on the high ground here, it's really up to Fleta and Void to really, and Fate of course, to really make sure that they can try to keep contesting this payload. Although right now with Seoul Dynasty having to back off, Fleta finding Fits. Here comes a Transcendence from Izayaki as everybody's funneled into that room, but now they can get into position, they can get aggressive, and they can clean up the Seoul Dynasty similarly to what they, somebody needs to actually contest. That's what I was worried about, but they get back in time. Dynasty also back to the drawing board as they got deleted from that positioning that the Dragons were set up on.
EMP farmed for Lip once again, even if it's a solo one, as long as it's Gesture, or even 2 you. That is more than okay, as long as they finish the kill on the Pilot Diva, the Baby Diva. Speaking of which, 2U's just going to throw himself off the edge, just get a quick reset on the mech. Big rally time here for Animo, though. If you can get it online, just insta-click when you were onto Payload expecting the EMP.
You also note that the Dragons are on that high ground, so the rotation approach from the Dynasty is no stranger to the Dragons, since you see Lip here is on their backlines. He does have the EMP. He's just trying to get into position as he's hanging out to this spot. But they're not coming out all the way yet, just.
Yeah, they know.
They have a minute, too. They know that he's right there.
Lip. Yeah. They know he's somewhere around waiting to pounce.
Oh. Gets away in time. The EMP, it's huge here. Stops the rally and deletes Animo, deletes Gesture at the same time. Fleta popping off, he gets stopped, but it's okay. The Dragons have the number advantage. And the Seoul Dynasty have less than a minute and 20 seconds, but they do have ultimates to work with.
Oh, yeah, probably just wants to die. Look at that ASAP, just kind of AFKs. Please kill me, I need to go back to spawn, thank you. 5 ults versus the 2 support ults, plus the mines coming up from Fate. Rally for Rally, I can imagine. They don't want to just get run over with Rally. You have to counter Rally for Legion right now. You have to counter Rally.
Less than a minute left here. Now comes the rally. The minefields has isolated them, though. Animo has to go around with the minefields. Stop creative and Fits. Huge here. They have less than a minute. And now the Transcendence from Izayaki? Question mark? Again? So many of these that we've seen tonight.
Yeah, a bit odd use the Transcendence there, but I take that back completely, Vicky. You don't need to rally for rally if you can just get a double kill with the mines, just waiting for the kills to potentially come through from Fate, and Lee Jigon saves on to that armor for the next fight, and it's going to be the last one. 20 seconds to go. Prophet needs a pulse one of his life here. He needs to attach it to Lee Jigon or it might just be over.
I know if Lee Jae-gon could get from his backline, especially since he's the one with the rally. Lip is gonna reach that EMP for this fight if he stays in here. Already so close. He is on that high ground. There it is. Just has to get into position. You gotta touch the point.
No, they don't touch.
I said you gotta touch the point. That's not opposite day, unless I missed the memo.
Way.
What? They were right there.
No. I think what happened, Vicky, was that Prophet touched with a couple of seconds to go, and he thought, okay, so this will be enough to kind of trigger OT.
Oh no, that
has to have been what he thought. He was like, this is enough time to trigger OT. There's no way. But there, well, guess what? There was way.
Whew.
And you end up C9ing. Okay, map number 5. Can the Shanghai Dragons find their first win in the qualifiers for the Countdown Cup? The answer on the other side of this break. Well, map number 5. Here we are. Reverse sweep on the cards for the Shanghai Dragons. They need to claim their win. Well, I guess it's not a reverse sweep because they claimed the map earlier on in the series. Regardless, they can still claim their first win of the Countdown Cup Qualifiers. Oh my word! I cannot believe the last map ended in C9. I'm going to go crazy. The Seoul Dynasty. Like, Prophet must have thought there was a couple of seconds left. Like, he touched, he was like, okay, there's a couple of seconds before he needs to get back on the payload. This is definitely going to trigger over time, but it must have been like just a hair's width, like a millisecond worth of time that it like triggered the cart moving back, which stops the clock and everything. Oh man, I can't believe that just happened. I think the rest of Seoul Dynasty as well couldn't believe it either. Just pure facepalm all around. Here we are, Control, Vicky, as our last map of the series. Can they do it? Can they do it? Only one way to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out now going on to map number 5. Yeah, after that last map, Jaws, that was a little anticlimactic. And I think the Dragons reacted the same exact way because they weren't popping off. They were like just poker face. And I was like, all right, this is going to be one of those situations where it's like, all right, hopefully they don't think, oh, we didn't deserve that, you know. They see 9. We take those. We move on to the next one. It is what it is. At this point, though, you put that in your advantage and you roll with it. Everything happens for a reason, and now the Dragons have that opportunity to take that first win for the Countdown Cup, like you said, which is absolutely insane to think about because this is the Dragons that we're talking about, a team that has been dominating all of this season.
Yeah, I mean, just ridiculous. The Seoul Dynasty, though, still looking pretty good apart from that C9. Their offenses, defenses, just everything have been looking great. However, when we jump onto Control, let's think back to the start of the series. What comps were they running? Well, Seoul Dynasty double hit scan, predicting that Shanghai Dragons were running Farah. And they did. They ran the Farah twice in a row on Nepal. And they got dumpstered on Control. Are they going to do the same? Maybe. I mean, it depends on what map we're going to go to. We'll find that out in just a moment. But if there's a position where Fleda feels like maybe they can play the Farah, if they do that, the Seoul Dynasty, they're definitely just going to run the Soldier and the Kree again because it worked so well before.
Yeah, that and being able to have the ability to just deal with the Farah was what we witnessed at the start. They even tried it again. Going onto Route 66, I believe, and noticed it did, again, just shut down. Or rather, yeah, sorry, it was Temple of Anubis, actually. It was shut down immediately. We saw that sleep coming in. We saw the Brigida get away with just 1 health. But at that point, are they going to do it again? Have they not learned their lesson? We'll figure it out when we find out what map we're going to, Jaws. But I feel like at this point, when it comes to the Seoul Dynasty, they already know. They already know how to counter the Farah pick, and they know that if the Dragons just come out of the woodworks with the same composition that they did on Nepal, going into this last map for both these teams, I mean, that could just spell doom for the rest of the Dragons, especially after that last map, too, that Dynasty just unfortunately C9'd with. This is that chance for the Dragons to take advantage of that.
Okay, we're heading to Busan as our final map in the series. You guys can't see it, but the Obs are actually trying to line up some of the murals here with the camera. It's rather funny. hope they just flick to it now.
That's us talking about the different variations of there.
Yeah, just like
actually.
Maybe, you kind of see it. They were like setting up and zooming in. They were trying to like prep the cameras. It looked really funny because they were just trying to like bump in the camera's face, I guess, into the statues. Okay, so this, I mean, Busan's actually, it's quite funny. It's quite fitting in a way because you can't really play Farah on this map. You can, I guess, in downtown and maybe a little bit here, but it's just not as effective as it is on Nepal, for example, some of the time. So Shanghai Dragons was almost forced to not run the Farah, and Seoul Dynasty know this too. Farah not great here, so they're just going to try and run with the complete mirror. It's just going to be a skill diff in this regard. A beautiful hack to start off with, but Izzyaki goes off the map anyway. Jesh's momentum carried that all the way through. They end up trading support for a tank. I'll take that if I'm the Dynasty any day of the week.
Actually looked insane too because Flip had like hacked them in the middle of the air. But anyways, now moving on to the point. getting online here. Contention as the Dragons are just trying to get into position. Here comes Prophet, though, going all the way in and finding that melee pick onto Lige gone. As he's taken about, he's gone. Izyaki's the only one up to keep the rest of Dragons alive, but it's not going to be enough. Both these tanks taking too much pressure. Void already back, and it's the Dynasty taking control first.
Yeah, like I said, perfect pick for the Seoul Dynasty. No way for Lige Gon to heal himself unless he's inspiring already, so hitting someone else to cause the AoE healing. Can't use the packs on himself. Wow, Fate, yeah. He's like, I'm dead. He just stands there, makes it quicker. Not a bad strat, honestly. You want to reset ASAP. So, you know, it was worth. Now a very good momentum shift is needed for the Dragons, especially since Fitz. Oh, nice Translocator find from Liv. Can they punish at all? Yes, they can.
Yeah,
Fitz
they
is in
do.
the backline.
That was a great awareness right there, too. Actually waited out just in case Fitz wanted to translocate, but was like, nah, let it go.
Yeah, as soon as he reveals himself there, Vicky, they know they can just hit that Translocator. They can get a free pick, basically.
Going into this, though, Lip and Fitz both have EMP for this fight. Getting into that position, found both of the supports here. Creative is so low, and he finally goes down. I was worried that there wasn't going to be a follow-up. Now to actually replicate that, see Fitz doing the same thing. This time, it's the Dragons who are still up and alive, just minus Fitz. They flipped the point in their favor, but already 60% in favor for the Dynasty on the point.
Not a bad start whatsoever. Both EMPs have been used. That was very dangerous of Lip too. You see him kind of translocate away. It was like, oh god, okay, that's a lot of damage actually. I need someone else to follow that up. Luckily Fate was there, of course, did pile driver, managed to get off the sports. He's peasy. Lip. Wow.
No.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Got right
Next fight, I guess.
Waiting, just trying to break down through shields. Take a look at the Dragons and their ultimates, though, that they have to work with. Izayaki slowly reaching that Transcendence, too, to match with Creative. So a lot of tools here for the Dragons to still hold on to this point.
Dragons start the fight. Super aggressive. Look at Creative in the front line.
Although, yes, you eat another pulse bomb. So consistent with this, but the Minefield's actually trying to block the rotation. Transcendence now coming in from Izayaki. Just trying to keep the rest of Dragons in this fight, stay on the point for as long as possible, even things out, but with the Diva Bomb forced to back off here if you're the Seoul Dynasty. Boy, getting right back into the action. It's looking a little spread out of a fight with the Dynasty regrouping and now going around the drum with this Transcendence, just trying to play with that Transcendence aggressively to get into position. They found Izayaki immediately too. They literally just dove on both the supports. Who said you need a Lucio when you have a Transcendence to just get into position instead?
Yeah, that was really nice too. He the way Creative played that, he reacted to Fleder trying to one-clip him, and then he just go, guys. I've got Transcendence up. We just have to make something of this, and they did just that. Killed both Izayaki and Lige Gon in the blink of an eye. 75% now for the Seoul Dynasty. They can make this last fight if they kill Lip again. If they kill Lip for the CMP or like. Just try and dodge the CMP somehow.
Yep.
Oh, solo EMP.
Oh,
he doesn't even get him. Can Fate finish him?
What?
Can Fate finish him?
Oh no, not like this. If you're gonna solo EMP one of the supports, you gotta do the job, you gotta finish it. You can't just leave it half-eaten out here. Creative is still gonna be able to build into this Transcendence too.
Post one for Fleder too. Vicky is OT coming down.
Yeah, the pulse bomb
coming down to the wire. Pulse bomb comes out, doesn't work.
Doesn't stick up to anything. Izayaki's gone again with no Transcendence, and with the EMP, Ichigan has the rally after outlasting it. Just keeps the rest of Dragons still in this fight, trying to get into position here. They found Gesture at the same time. Great look here for the Dragons as it's ticking away. They need to try to get on the board, but Pile Driver sending everybody up here from the Dynasty, trying to desperately keep it into overtime. Currently, you have TU that does send it over there, contesting for as long as possible, but just has no ability to stall for as long as possible and wait out for the rest of the Dynasty to make their way over, but looking like they may not. All right, we do have the Fitz right here, but can he stay on the point?
Against Sombra, it feels like it's almost impossible. You're going to get hacked as soon as you get onto the point. EMP available.
And here goes Transcendence for Transcendence 2, just dancing around, but Dynasty still need to get on the point. The EMP coming in. Lip now not going to be able to even get in the fray because the rest of the Dragons, they hold back the Dynasty. But look how close it was, Jaws. 99 to 100. And they were trying to move in, too, with that Transcendence. They had an ultimate to work with. But unfortunately, it's just not going to allow them to clean up the Dragons fast enough.
I mean, this is the point where the Dragons fans are getting pretty excited. They're one round away, Vicky, from getting their first win in the Countdown Cup Qualifiers, taking it away from what looked like a rather one-sided series in Seoul Dynasty's favor.
Seoul Dynasty not going to be part of the club that the Fusion and NYXL could sit in after last weekend with that performance. Absolutely insane to think that Dragons, they're so close for taking their first series in this stage. Now going to be able to move all the way up, wasting no time here with that Symmetra teleporter.
Double hit scam versus double hit scam. No fire shenanigans.
Nothing that they were
Mega
expecting.
health pack room control already from Seoul Dynasty. Oh, Nip's dead.
Taking care of the immortality field there too. They trade here with Fitz popping off actually. No trade, it's just Fitz finding two. Void gets demaxed. Hiziaki is out of this fight. Great start for the Seoul Dynasty for this round. This is what I was thinking, Ju. Literally coming down to the wire between both of these teams.
Couldn't be any closer at this point, honestly. Look at Anubis ult charge too. So many Legion Gons. Oh, nice kill on him. There's so much damage done in that small room, plus all the healing with all the spam and everything else. You get rallied so quickly. Same with Batiste as well, to be fair. You're just right-clicking and hitting the shift. Whoa! Fleder is on the flank of the century.
He's crossing.
By the looks of it.
Crossing roads out here. Traveling miles.
Well, he knows that Prophet's on high ground there. He can hear him, and he can kind of see the bullet trails. He wants to be able to force a rotation.
Oh, the animation through the wall. Both walls here, but it's Fate that gets deleted first. They won't have that shield. You can see the rest of the Dragons backing off. The rally from Animo is going to allow the rest of the Dynasty to hold forward, but they're not trying to overextend. They get another pick, and now this is their opportunity to back off. They know that they wasted even more time away from the Dragons.
That was a powerful flashbang through the window. That was more like a grenade being thrown in Fate's face. Just insta-killing him. The stun damage didn't. Oh, the rest of the damage that followed up did. Another rotation all the way around. They've had enough going through the small corridor. They've got rally to work with too if they really need to be hardy on this point.
With that rally.
Yep, there you go. Legion on, activating the rally.
Yeah, that rally is going to allow them to start initiating this fight here, but with Prophet on that high ground and attack visor, Fitz is also going to try to match out, try to cover the other side. Option coverage coming in from Seoul Dynasty and their awareness. They knew that Shanghai Dragons were forced to go the other way, but it's Fleta on the soldier with his tack visor getting way more of an impact. Forget to you getting this Diva Bomb pick. Fleta's out here with the tack visor. He got a 4K. He's looking at you, Jaws, right now. He's like, all right, you proud of me? I got it. I got it out here. I got a large impact with the soldier ult.
Finally, 4K with soldier ult. You'll never see one ever again. Not a non-nanoed one anyway. That was a really nice flank from Fleta. Using the perfect ability legs in order to get around the sides quickly. That's what you want to do as the soldier in these compositions, by the way, is just trying to find these big off angles like Prophet is trying to find now as well.
Yeah, they're actually backing off. They're going to opt to go for middle rotation, maybe just actually waiting it out. Yeah, just waiting for the window at this point. They do have the supercharger too for this next fight.
Oh, nice to hide the whoa.
Alright. Oh, he actually peeked! Oh, he peeked! Oh, that's tested it too! Oh, what is going on right now?
He got...
What?
He might have got booped. He actually might have got booped by Void. I didn't see where Void was. Maybe... I was kind of just looking at all the skulls, but... I think maybe Void booped him. No way Prophet just flings himself out like that.
That's actually insane. You know, also, I didn't see Animo like go for a shield bash if that was the case there too, but absolutely insane. Void was able to pull that off. Now Seoul Dynasty going on the high ground here. They have that supercharger, so they also have that Ant Matrix. You just utilize that window, but they have to avoid the Diva Bomb first.
Wow, that was super nice. And if you saw what happened there, but Animo actually just stunned it. Shield slam, shield bash. Stop that bomb going anywhere near the team.
Now the Dynasty, they have that high ground position. Oh, just diving right in. Void See Fitz taking so much damage here. Lip is the one to finish him off. And now that in Void shifts his attention, and Animo's popping off, getting a quick 2K. Though the point is slowly ticking away in favor for the Dragons. The Seoul Dynasty finally making their way over, but it's not enough people, even though you see that remake pick onto Lige gone. It's Fleta, who has the ability to have way more of that space again after utilizing that visor.
Picky is an OT. They're just struggling to get back onto the point. Profit kills Void.
They're just staggering out right now. Jaws, the Dragons, they end up doing it. They end up taking the first win in the Countdown Cup for themselves. It was a close call here. The Seoul Dynasty, they were nearly right there. I know you have to consider the fact that that C9 that happened on Blizzard World, they're really beating themselves up over that one. But the Dragons, they took the opportunity and they nailed it, finding the win and finding, again, that first win for this stage.
Oh my goodness, the first win for the Shanghai Dragons in the Countdown Cup Qualifiers. Unreal scenes in the Eastern region today. That is a ridiculous statement to make. Their first win in week 2 and their third match also. Yeah, I bet Seoul Dynasty are kicking themselves with that C9 on Blizzard World. It could have been a very different story. They could have ended it all there, but there you go. Shanghai Dragons, they find the dub in the end. We get a nice little tactical visor clip as well from Fleta. Thank you very much for that one. What a day of games it has been already, both North America and the Eastern region too.
Yeah, actually, it's safe to see that second series. I was honestly looking at the Shanghai Dragons, wondering what plans they had going into this weekend, Jaws. But now, as they win that first game so far in the Countdown Cup, this is their opportunity to start keeping that ball rolling. They want to make sure they can keep themselves on top. I mean, they're not going to be going anywhere, even if they were to fall down. But in the Countdown Cup, why not go for that tradition that you guys have just been winning everything so far, just been popping off, just keep it going.
Exactly.
And you know what? That's what I'm expecting when I talk about the Shanghai Dragons. That is the team that I'm looking at for this season.
Yeah, and Fleta is going to be our player of the match as well. What a surprise. Fleta again just kind of deadlifts his way to victory. His Spara play, you know what? It was pretty good. He had one really nice barrage here. Wasn't too inspirational to start the series off, but Tracer play, just anything you kind of put him on. Nice little 4K tactical visor. You guarantee you that's going to be in this little clip montage as well. So many accolades to his name. His Tracer too, just a superstar. Being able to find these kind of picks as well, in amongst 5 people, chunks down creative, double dash on top, smacks him on the head to finish him off. I mean, unreal play.
Wow.
Oh my god, that was a stick and a half as well.
Actually insane. Obviously no surprise here too. Just being able to pop off. But some of those moments that we saw throughout the series was insane. I remember this actually when he moved in. This is when the Dragons actually had pushed all the way up with that Transcendence, and the Payload wasn't moving. You could actually see they were winning the fight, but the Payload just had no progress. Doesn't matter at the very end of the day though, because still counting their blessings, just being able to move on to a map number 5 and then take it home from there.
Now look at that 24k damage done. 39
wow.
blows, 77 lives. Yeah, not bad at all. 6 attaches and 8 kills with a pulse bomb. He did get a double in one of those as well, so that's where a couple of those extra digits came from. Excellent work by Fleta and the Dragons all around, and they find their first win. So now they just need to tie up 2-2. The fate in general, not the player, but fate as an overall premise, could be out of their hands, maybe, depending on how the other series ends up going today and how the Well Fusion and everybody else and Seoul Dynasty do also. So they're not out of the woods just yet. They've only just found their first win. We're going to jump to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We've got a quick game break after this, and then we have your final series of the night. We'll see you in a sec. Welcome back and welcome to the game break. This is going to be just before the next series and the final series of this evening. We just saw Shanghai Dragons take the series, a nail-biting finish, finishing 3-2 against the Seoul Dynasty. Vicky, it was crazy, an unreal turnaround. We even saw a C9, we saw Fleta pop off, we saw 2U pop off, Elos of ults. And I've got another question for you, Vicky.
All right.
We're going to go again.
All right, let's go.
But this time I want you to describe the series using a fruit. Describe the series using fruit.
Okay.
Yes. Compare it to a fruit.
I got you right now.
Or vegetable.
Tomato.
I'll make it.
A tomato.
Go on.
Dragons,
Okay.
not only are their colors red, but
True.
Izayaki, using those transcendents sometimes, you know, just trying to get some aggressive positions, I would throw a tomato at Izayaki.
Okay, alright. I was going to say maybe the Transcendence looks like a giant tomato, which kind of makes sense as well. Wrecking Ball looks like a giant tomato.
The minefields for the Dragons look like tomatoes. Tomatoes.
Yeah, the minefields, the ball.
Tomatoes. I like it.
Tomato, yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's the best way I could describe this. And I feel like, you know what?
It's good.
When you yeet the tomato from the high ground and just, if you're the Dragons and you just watched the Dynasty C9 at the very end,